it down there.
Till Friday, yeah, and they had like 200 people.
Wow.
the same guy as you were telling me last week. You beat that back. I got one of these.
I got one that is just horrible.
That's what I was talking about Saturday.
$6
6 o'clock. I don't see the. It's 6:01. I don't see it on the website, Tracy. Are you guys ready?
I don't have the, so you're talking about, what are you talking about?
The live stream, I got a text that wasn't working. Because the video has been removed by the uploader. Is it because we haven't started? Would that make
I
sense?
don't know, I'm looking right now.
This stream, is this stream up, Terry? We're ready to go? Turn the mic up.
I'll work on
How's the volume? Better? Can you hear me, Mr. Roberts?
Sure, can you hear?
Alrighty, you guys ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Tucker, can you do the roll call, please?
Trustee Burt,
Present.
trustee Faftall,
Present.
trustee King,
Present.
supervisor Miller,
Here.
clerk Triplett, she's absent. Treasurer Klee,
Present.
and trustee Leverett Senior.
Present.
Do we have additions and deletions to the agenda? We have action item A, III or A3, it'll be stipends. Are there any corrections to the minutes from the regular board meeting from March 4th? Any corrections? Hearing none, those in favor of approving the minutes from March 4th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those are stand approved. And then we have the minutes from the special meeting. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Anybody? For the record, the list of the people who lodged a protest or spoke during the meeting, their names are on that list. And did anyone have any corrections to that? No? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the special meeting on February 26th signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those stand approved. We move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium, give us your name, we don't need your address, and you'll be given 4 minutes to speak.
All right, can you hear me okay? Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity for being here tonight. My name is Joe Karlichek. I'm running for the 8th County District Commissioner, Genesee County Commissioner. Flint Township happens to be a significant portion of the 8th District that is now part of the 8th District, and including Flushing City, Flushing Township, Clayton Township, and also Swartz Creek. Ladies and gentlemen, I currently serve as the mayor of the city of Flushing. I was elected in 2019. When I became mayor, the city of Flushing was experiencing a lot of issues relative to increase in crime, increase in blight. Morale was at its lowest point. Contracts not settled. And in the 4 years and 4 months, myself and a great new team of administration and council members have solved those problems. problems can be solved. And here in this township and across the 8th District, I see and listen to a lot of our citizens. I was at your public hearing about a month ago. Your citizens stood up at the church, and the theme I got from the, I think 30 or 35, 40 people that spoke, very passionate about Flint Township. They love this community. They love their police. They love their fire department. But one of the things that stuck out most to me, as it has across the 8th District, including the citizens in my city, is taxes, the big TAX word. And one of the biggest reasons why I'm running for the 8th District for the Genesee County Commissioner is I have 22 million reasons why I'm running. In the 8th District, as I outlined of the communities, 22 million in taxes were levied out of those districts, or out of this district, to the Genesee County government last year alone. As the mayor and chairman of the Small Cities and Villages Association, I spent my entire past 2 years asking the county commissioners, email after email, communicating to them, what are we getting in return in the tax dollars that we're paying to the county government? The response I received was expected, but it was crickets. The $22 million alone that funds the Genesee County government, and they cannot give us any response. I cannot imagine the citizens coming here to this township board and saying, what are we getting for the $8 or $9 or $10 million that's levied that goes to your township? In Flint Township alone last year, $11 million was levied out of this township that went to the county government. And when I asked our county commissioner, our current county commissioner, where's the money? The response is crickets. They can't give us a response. And the analysis that I've done and completed, and I'll present it to you guys, and I can send it to your email, concludes that I think you're getting maybe 5 or 6%. And for the city of Flushing alone, the senior center that we have that services the school district, the senior center was only allocated $202,000. The city of Flushing and the township of Flushing was levied over $400,000. And just those two communities alone, I could double the budget of my senior center and give my director what they need to fix the issues. The money is there. The money is there. And we have to have somebody at the 8th District that's willing to step up and say enough is enough, and let's get your tax dollars back. We've done that in Flushing. I intend to do that as your 8th District Genesee County Commissioner. When we look at the county and the amount of money that is spending, that's one issue. The other issue is the amount of services that they've reduced and your taxes have gone up. Your veteran services have been reduced by 50%. All 16 senior centers used to have monthly VSO services for veterans. They've slashed that in half. Now they've made it only 6 senior centers.
Joe, your time is up. I'm sorry.
I'm very passionate about it, as you can tell, but thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll be sitting here with through the rest of your meeting listening to your citizens. So
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone who else would like to address the board?
Mark White, P.O. Box 320247, Flint, Michigan. m.w244@yahoo.com. That's my email. It took me 1,000 tries to get it that short. The problem, as I said, with Flint Township, the city of Flint, Detroit, is property tax abatements for big business. Not necessarily little business, but big business. Flint Township Board has done that over the decades, and it's caught up with us. And the bottom line is, a normal town wouldn't have to pay for garbage pickup. It's creep. Then you're going to have to pay for police, which I supported. Then you have to pay for this, pay for that. That's not going to prevent bankruptcy. That's not going to prevent the underfunding of the pension that I saw. And by the way, my caucus chairperson used to be Marianne Leith in Flushing, who fought for the police department to get back into Flushing, and I fought with her to put them back to work. She was the Progressive Caucus chairman for the Democratic Party at that time when I was in the Democratic Party. I have changed parties. I do that a lot. But I've never changed on this issue of tax abatements. And I would like this board to endorse the axemissingtax.org attempt to delete property taxes. I'm for state sales tax. I just got back from Gatlinburg. They have state sales tax. I don't like paying it. But the idea that 184,000 people a year and more, or that we have a heartless Flint Township board, which I've came before, on property taxes, and people are being put out of their home even before they moved in their new home, you know, now we got to get an appointment. I'm kind of afraid to, you know, they take you in the back room. I'm joking here. And so it used to be that everything was done out in the open. One time, I had property tax assessment when I got divorced. I got 3 appraisals. It was actually double. Those 3 appraisals were half of what my property tax assessment was at the time. And they gave me a break then. So it's not, you know, my dad was a Detroit Police Reserve officer. I like police. They don't always like me. That's fine. I did something wrong. I was speeding or something. But what I just wanted to say is if it has to be bankruptcy, like my pension in Flint, it's going to be lost, fine. I don't like it, but the homeowners have got to say no. This is kind of like the country western movies you see where the big businessman takes your money and takes your property, and you let them get away with it. We all got to get together and stop it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Got 4 minutes?
Yes,
We can talk about anything, right?
yes, you can.
My name's Bill McKellar, 3501 Concord Street. I've lived where I live now for about 30 years, just about right on the money. When I moved in there, I didn't know at the end of Concord Street there was a trailer park. You can't tell from my end. I bought the house, lived there for 3 days, drove down there and said, ooh, what did I do? And it's turned into exactly that. A number of years ago, Karen, I came and talked to you. You were gonna see what you could find out. I heard nothing. I'd really like to get the street closed at the end. So Concord Street is no longer an entrance and an exit for both the trailer parks, the one that you used to come in off Pasadena and then you'd come down Concord to go in the other one. There used to be a gate that divided them. The gate disappeared. Traffic went right through the roof. It's crazy. You wouldn't believe. Everything somebody can do with a car on that street, they've done. Drag racing, littering, loud noise. People have been drive-bys and got shot. One guy died. Trash, drag racing, just you name it, they've done it. The streets trashed. Can we block that off down there? You know, they've had it their way for 30 years. Let us have it our way for 30, and then maybe we'll swap every 30 years. Something's got to be done. I've called the police. They can't be over there all the time policing that street. Yeah, I understand that. But if they close up the end, foot traffic I don't care about, but cars, it's just got to stop. So that's basically what I had to say. Can that be done?
I'm working with the fire chief because we have to have access, but we're currently talking about and working on it. So hopefully that would be done soon.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
I'm Bill's wife, Cletus Ann McKellar, and I live at G3501 Concord Street, and I'd like to know about the chicken coops that are at my neighbors, and they have rabbits, and the rabbits are all over the neighborhood. They are digging holes in my flower beds. There was we just had to call the cops about a half an hour ago because their dog is running loose and ran my husband back in to the house. chasing one of the rabbits in our driveway. And the chickens are over there. Last spring, I had guinea hens all over our yard. And I come and talked. They said that there's nothing we can do about it, just live with it. Well, what's the deal with having a chicken coop? And other animals are in there. These people have, the cops have been called numerous times. Their dog bit one of our neighbors, literally shredded her dress while she's out walking. I don't know, what are we supposed to do? I'm not gonna put a $10,000 fence up for their benefit. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Gerald Roberts, live in Flint Township. Wasn't gonna talk tonight, but a week ago, this last Monday, I went over before the review board. Prior to that, the last 2 years, I've FOIA'd the tax department and asked how they mathematically, and give me a mathematical computation as to how they get my true value of my property, which is basically double what the SEV value would be. So this year it went up $12,000, so that would be a true value of $24,000 in valuation in 1 year. Right now, my house is valued pretty close to $260,000, just shy of that. Under the Headley, it's whichever is smaller, the inflationary factor or 5%. I also, in that FOIA, asked how they arrived at that because in our president's speech, he said inflation only went up 3%. But under that FOIA, they had some formula that the state had come up with. It went up 5.1% so that they could give us an increase on that Headley portion. It's increased over a period of 10 years. That's the multiplier with regard to my millage rate. This last year, it says approximately your taxes are going up from last year $147 or $149. That's an automatic increase with regard to that under the Headley. There's a gap between the SEV value and what the Headley says that you can tax. And there's quite a difference. Over in that meeting that we had over at the Nazarene Church, the lady came in and she said that her taxes, because she'd bought something over here in Western Hills, was $8,800, and in Grand Blanc, it was like $3,500. If I sold my house today, whatever that value is, that's the multiplier of the millage. That's why her taxes went up greatly at that point in time. I got this little thing through the mail stating the fact that my taxes have been figured correctly. But how come the last 2 years? Now, I dropped the FOIA information in back of that deal when I was at the review board. And I understand that before you could always go in and you could wait and you could listen to whatever people before, but they said because of COVID. Now, I thought COVID was done with, but they're still having individual, you have to register or get an appointment to see that. That should not be. Right. We should be able to come in at that point in time at your convenience, not we go before a board. This board is dictated, in other words, the review board, is dictated by the state. It used to be before it was based on property values within your subdivision and sales for the last year. That's how the valuation. They must use a percentage because she can't give me that computation the last 2 years that I've asked for it under a FOIA. She cannot give it to me. So I must assume that it's a percentage that the state is dictating through the county to say that that's what my value is going up. I think my value of my property over the last 2 years, according to True Value, has probably gone up pretty close to $50,000. Maybe just shy of that, maybe 45, something like that. Now, tell me, does that sound reasonable to you people? $50,000 almost in 1 year or 2 years for property value? It's not reasonable to me. Last year, they gave me a value, in other words, it showed my property, in other words, based on sales of property. There wasn't anything that was even close to maybe $30,000 or $40,000 from what they had my property valued at with regard to sales. Something's not right here. Something's not right. It's either being dictated by the state or the county or whatever. And this gal over here cannot give me a computation. I'm athletically inclined because I'm an accountant and I was an auditor for General Motors. Show me on paper why my property value went up $24,000 this last year, and she can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Hi, my name is Joe Grams. I live on 6235 Lennon Road. I missed the last meeting over at the church over there. Is it my understanding correct that the assessment has been dropped? Okay. I'm, well, so the previous gentleman, I'm with him. I'm to the point now with my taxes that I can't live here much longer. I just can't. I'm retired, fixed income, did all the things I'm supposed to do as far as saving correctly, got all my ducks in a row so that I was able to retire. But the taxes have gone up so much where I live now that I can't keep up. I just can't keep up. And when the budgets are made out, I know in my particular case, when I make my own budget out for my assets and liabilities, I prioritize. And I'm wondering if this board actually, we're talking about fire and police, which I admire. But it seems like some of them are just not getting the money allocations that they need for whatever reason. But it's got to be reasonable too, because you can only give so much, and with what you've got. You've got to prioritize things, and that has always been an issue. It's economics 101. You've got X amount of dollars to work with, but it seems like well, we could just raise taxes again. Now that is counterproductive. It always has been. It will come back and bite you, and you know where. But my main point is priorities when you budget. And that I'm glad to hear that special assessment has been dropped, because I'm on the verge of putting the for sale sign up. But I just can't afford it anymore. So with that, I'll close, and I thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Good evening, Township leaders. I'm Mike Kilbreth. This coming September will mark 50 years since I became a journalist in this community. And all my time as an investigative reporter, a columnist, a newspaper editor, owner, and a radio show host, what's gone on recently in Flint Township sticks out as some of the most comical, blatantly corrupt activity I've ever witnessed. Right out in the open. Usually you have to investigate to find corruption. Last summer, I rose to demand that you remove Lisa Anderson as your treasurer because she didn't live in Flint Township. She lived in Georgia. Documents provided overwhelming evidence, and I cited the statute to prove this illegal activity. She pledged to serve out her term, yet 2 weeks later, she resigned, but first joined a 4-3 vote to give herself benefits till the end of the month. A conflict of interest, by the way, under state law. I'm told her husband subsequently had an expensive surgery. I believe this was clearly a criminal act by the 4 board members who voted to illegally extend her coverage, which is not legal. Anyone who owns a business can tell you there's such thing as COBRA. That's a state law. If you don't work here anymore, you're not insured. The insurance company have lobbyists to keep the laws the way they are. I think this board tonight needs to make a resolution to rescind that and fix whatever problem you had. Otherwise, the four of you should face criminal action. I know a few have resigned or they're not here anymore. It doesn't absolve them. They spent tax dollars and shouldn't have happened. I think this board needs to make a resolution like last week to fix the silliness of having a 4 mil tax increase to businesses, which wouldn't be here anymore. I have 62 of them, 62 that have pledged thousands of dollars to get new board members because you can't raise my taxes and drive me out of business. Everybody wants more police and more fire. Why don't we fill the empty buildings in this township, get more personal property taxes collected? And I know, Mr. Klee, you're the new treasurer, but this township, have you looked into why we didn't collect personal property taxes from businesses before? We just stopped, and yet I have one business owner showed me a check for $110,000 he wrote for personal property taxes to this township. You're not getting it this year, I can tell you that. He's gonna move his stuff. Okay, you're gonna lose businesses and you're gonna tax seniors out of their homes with this type of activity. And I know you voted 5-2 because you had a big crowd a few times. The business people can't do it. You can't pay 4 mils more on your tax bill. Some of these businesses I talk to, you think they're gonna pay $30,000 more in taxes when they're barely making it now? It's unbelievable. And some of this stuff, I just don't understand. And your township attorney with the resolution to have the public hearing in the first place, I have a text from one board member who shall remain confidential that cited a law that he said gave him the authority to write that resolution. I looked up the law and I read English pretty well. It doesn't say that. You can't use millages for personnel under an assessment.
Right.
You can't do it. There's a Charter Township Act. The state law says you can't do it.
Right.
You spent $10,000 according to what was said at the last meeting. A resolution needs to be made tonight. That 5-2 vote needs to go again. Who paid the money? Who authorized it? The clerk told a citizen, it didn't come through my office. I didn't approve it. I didn't send out the cards. I read the resolution. I don't see where it says to send out $5,000 for these cards. The township attorney, as someone said last week, I'm sure he didn't work for free. And yet he created a resolution that under the statute, including the case law he cited, I looked it up. I had 2 attorneys review it to make sure I was right.
Your time is up, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No, we'll move on to our agenda. Time for reports. What I wanted to mention in my report this evening was brought up about chickens. We have been working with the attorney to update our ordinance. We have a livestock ordinance, and under that, we used to be able to tell people you could not have chickens, and yet they are. And we've been challenged in court saying that chickens don't fall under livestock. So we brought a new ordinance to the board, and they banned chickens, but the ordinance did say that you could have chickens on 10 acres or more. So that update to that ordinance should come to our next meeting. If it's an update, we were checking on that, Tracy, whether or not it had to have 2 readings to be updated or just the definition for the old ordinance. And at that point, we don't have an ability to go out and collect chickens or bunnies or, what did you say it was? Guinea hens? We're gonna have to write tickets.
Turkeys and everything.
You can't catch those rabbits.
Well, turkeys are considered wild, but anyway, that should be coming to our next meeting. And
They don't live on 10
update.
acres.
Thank you. We'll look for that at our next meeting, and we'll see if it requires 2 readings. I know you're
I
gonna,
think we already did 1 reading on it. The question was whether or not, because we made changes to it, did we have to redo everything? I don't believe we have in the past, I know Peter always told us you could make changes up until the time you finalize it, without redoing it, but I'll check with Gildner, that's not a problem.
We'll bring that to the next meeting. I also wanted to make mention that we are looking for residents who are interested to serve on our Public Safety Committee. We had formed a Public Safety Committee in February of 2020 to address some of these issues. We are looking at estimates for, you had one, and we're looking for more feasibility studies on how to address the ever-increasing costs of public safety and how to handle that. So if you're interested in serving on the Public Safety Committee, please call the township. We're gonna have a meeting in April. I think, did we set a date? I can't remember. The third week in April, was it? The 22nd? We'll put that on the website. So if anyone has an interest, please contact the township main line, 810-732-1350. That's my report this evening. Madam Clerk's not here. Mr. Treasurer, do you have a report this evening?
At this time, no. The only thing we're gonna do is pay the bills on item number 8. But other than that, we're working on collecting the amounts of money that have been hanging out there, and we're still working on that.
Thank you. We have trustee reports this evening. Anybody?
I just have one request. Is I would like an accounting of all the money that was spent putting the assessment forward. All the money that goes to, and for all the board members.
You're asking for a report to go to all the board members? Okay. Any other trustee reports? Carol, Greg, Jean? We'll move on to staff reports. Tracy, do you have a report for us this evening?
Just a couple of items. I wanted to get a full report for you, but with everything that's going on, I hadn't had a chance to do that. But I did get, I wanted to give you a year-end on where we ended up with investments in our community. In 2022, the entire year was almost 22 million. It was 21.958 million in new investment. In the end of 2023, we were at 35.975 million. So we saw an increase in investment in our area by basically half, so, or an additional 50%. So that was good to see. Right now, we are at almost 5 million in investment, so, and it's kind of our slow time right now, so we'll see what happens when we get to spring. And that'll give us an idea of where we're at for this year. If those big projects we have come through, we had some big projects that would have been on last year, which would have been that e-commerce center, the 100,000 square foot e-commerce center on Linden Creek Parkway, and we also had the new gas station on Bristol and Linden, and then of course Chick-fil-A. Those all would have hit in last year's. So that made a difference having those 3 large projects. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you.
I make a request. Tracy, can I have a copy of that report, please? You can just put it in my basket.
I don't have a written report. What are you looking for?
A written report.
Okay, that's what I said. I didn't have time to do. So yeah, when I get it,
Yeah.
I'll do the whole one. That's what I'm gonna try to have by the next meeting, so. I can give you these numbers right now, if you wanted these that I had. Okay.
All set, Tracy. Chief Salter?
Excuse me. On March 7th, we had a homicide in a 3000 block of Ridgecliff. Started out as a neighbor dispute, ended up being a 30-year-old victim died from a gunshot wound, and a 30-year-old suspect was arrested. His name was Jimmy Lee Friend, 38 years old, charged with homicide, open murder, 3 counts of felony firearm, and 2 other felonies. And I do have one item for the agenda.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting on March 4th, your fire department's responded to 45 incidents. This does include 1 vehicle entrapment and 2 vehicle fires in the last 2 weeks. Just prior to this meeting, we did respond to the Genesee Valley Mall for a reported fire in the ceiling there. Luckily, it was just a light fixture that had an issue, but of course, in a facility that big, definitely raises some red flags for us. So luckily, it was a small problem, kept small. That business will be closed until they can get the electrical issues taken care of in there. I have two action items on the agenda this evening, and then just wanted to touch on, I know I sent some information to the board over the last couple of weeks about Station 1 staffing there as well. So we'd like to have a discussion about that as soon as the board would like to regarding where we are heading with that, with open shifts, budgeting, those kind of things as we move into our busier months like we touched on last week. And that's all that I have tonight.
Thank you.
I did have two other things. I forgot. EDC is going to have a meeting at 4:15 on Thursday. We'll be meeting with the representatives from NAMDAR to talk to them about where they're going with their building there. So we'll be meeting here at 4:15, and at 4:30 we're doing a Teams meeting with them. Also, 2024 Bunny Trail is going on now. We had I want to thank Annette Marks and Trustee Fafdahl. They helped me get all the stuff out to the 26 different participating locations this week. And advertising started on WSMH and also on the radio station last Friday, and it's going on through the 26th. So have little kids, take them in and get them registered for the prizes.
I have one more thing. Are we gonna have an election commission meeting?
Yes, yeah. I thought I talked to you about that the other day. We will. I just hadn't set a time yet. I hadn't had a chance to talk to Greg, so.
Is it gonna be this week, or?
I'd like to, if we can, get some scheduled, yes. I did get I found the plan that we need to have to change those early voting hours to 8 hours a day instead of the 9.5 that we had. And then also, I'm trying to find the resolution that the state needs for the pre-processing for AV ballots, so we can get that all done, and we're done for the year with that. So I'm trying to get that all together for everybody. As you know, the clerk is not in this week. I'm thinking she'd probably be next week before she can be back. So I'm trying to get this stuff done though. So.
Thank you, and I just wanted to say thank you to Trustee Fafdahl and to Annette Marks for the work that they did. Everybody loves the Bunny Trail, and I know there's a lot of running around, so thank you for volunteering to do that. And speaking of volunteering, I know that there's going to be some volunteer cleanups Saturdays. Did you, yeah?
Officer Cheese and I are working on the dates, but they're gonna be the first Saturday of each month. But it's a holiday, we're just gonna have to move it around, but they're not set yet. And I hope everybody shows up, not the same 5. Well, if it snows, no, but, yeah, we're watching that.
I do have a contact for you too at Culver's. They'd like to work with you to help do a couple of those Saturdays. They have some team
Good.
members that would like to help you, so I'll
Perfect.
get that to you too.
All right,
Just got
thanks.
it this weekend.
So I've heard a lot of complaints about trash, and you see it. You drive down the road and you see it. I know that Genesee County Road Commission is our DPW for road repair. However, I don't believe they pick up trash. And we don't have a DPW who picks up trash, so we do things by volunteer. I know there's a lot of groups that volunteer. There's a church group that's on Court Street that goes from down there all the way up to the freeway. Once or twice a year, they clean up trash there. I know that the DDA pays thousands of dollars to have the ramps on the freeways mowed and the trash picked up. You're going to be putting that bid out for bid for mowing and trash and landscaping, the new signs, and maybe in the DDA district we could also include, if it's bad, once a month, clean up on the main streets, see how much that would cost us to do, because there's just, we don't have a way to pick up trash unless it's volunteer. The juvenile detail used to pick up trash through the sheriff's department in the jail, but they don't do that anymore since COVID either. They would clean along the freeways, and we could have asked them if there was a major area like up and down Court Street, they might have done that, but they haven't done that since COVID broke out. I'll make a phone call, but it'd be great if the DDA, at least in the DDA's district, could see how much it would cost on the days that they're mowing, not only on the ramp, but along the major roads.
I think that's gonna be probably a separate company to do that, but still, we can still put it out
Put
for
it out.
quote and see what we get.
I saw driving around the township today, there was like 5 bags, someone just throws, I don't know how the bag of trash gets on the ground. It's not just from fast food, it's an entire bag, but we do have an issue, and we're looking to address that. So I go on to committee report. John, you have a report for us this evening?
Good evening, Township Board. I'm John Whiteside, Secretary of the Township's Road Advisory Committee. My report is from our last Road Advisory meeting, which was held last Monday on March 11th. Mike Pfeiffer was present at that meeting and provided the Advisory Committee updates on the estimates for the road projects that were discussed at our January and our February meetings, and that I also reported out on March 4th. The finances were also discussed as they pertain to the 2024 projects. So the projects we're looking at for the 2024 project here, and I believe they're on the agenda, is Trotwood Lane from Pickwick Place east-west to Pickwick Place north-south. And then Pickwick Place from Trotwood Lane south 275 feet. Then Scottwood Avenue from Fenton Road to Fenton Lawn Drive. These projects will total $476,000 for the 2024. Remember, Trotwood Lane was approved last year, but due to lack of funding, that project was pushed off till this year. So that was first priority to get that done. Looking at our February 12th road advisory meeting, there was a motion to do those projects that I just named. The estimated sheet we worked from the January meeting, the advisory committee decided on February 12th to hold off bringing that recommendation to the board till we got more finalized numbers, which we got on our March 11th meeting. So the projects will fit in the road advisory project. The withdrawal funds from the road advisory millage will be $206,000 that are earmarked for roads. There's $45,000 that are earmarked for engineering, reserved engineering, $7,285 of the $25,000 for ditching, the rest will be used for ditching. And there's a $51,000 from a bridge fund, and Karen can elaborate more on that if you have any questions. The rest of the money will come from the 50/50 money from the Genesee County Road Commission of $168,585, which is how we get that, by using township dollars from the road millage to do matching funds. So this time, we're gonna bring that motion to the board. It'll be on the minutes, or on the agenda. So we're recommending the township board does approve that. That's my report.
Thank you, and we're gonna hear details from our engineer, Mike Pfeiffer. We're all set.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure. Good evening, members of the board. Good to see everybody tonight. And John just kind of stole a lot of my thunder there, so I won't reiterate it. But as he said, that for the 2024 projects, we are doing 3 projects. And so basically that decision was just made at our advisory meeting last Monday. So now we have to prepare the contract documents and specifications and the plans. And we'll probably get that done by probably no later than about April or May. And then we have to go through a bidding process to bid them out. And then we'll, well, actually, because Trotwood was done last year, we don't have to bid them out because Eastern Asphalt was a low bidder last year, and they've agreed to hold their prices to this year. So that's actually good news because the prices will go up as they have every year. And hopefully one of these days, you know, they won't. But it seems like every year they're going up, and I think that's not only for road construction, for just about anything. So I think we will get a break in the funding there. So what we're going to try to do is basically get Eastern to see if they will do the other project also at those same prices, because they were bid out prices. So that's our plan, is to see if they will do that at last year's prices. If not, then we'll have to bid it out separate. We won't allow them to increase their prices at all. So the estimate right now that we have, I think John mentioned it, is $476,000, and we have a budget of $478,000 for the road projects. So we've got enough money to basically do the projects that we mentioned. And hopefully the construction will be done by probably latter part of the summer at latest. And also, I'd like to touch just a little bit on what we did last year also, because they're not quite 100% done yet. We have to do some final restoration and a couple other minor things. But last year, the projects we did was River Valley Drive, and that's the 2023 year, was River Valley Drive from Beecher Road northerly to River Birch Drive, and that road was in horrendous shape. And the people have been complaining about it and want something done for a number of years. And so we got that resurfaced, and everybody was pleased it could be. You know, everybody was stopping us and saying, thank you, thank you. And I says, well, you thank your township board. They're the ones that, you know, and the advisory committee actually, you know, got this project finally funded so that we could get it done for you. So I think everybody's extremely happy with that. We also did Charter Oak Drive from West Judd Road to Whispering Oak Drive, and that project also was another concrete road, as River Valley was, and it was just in terrible shape. The concrete was just falling apart. It was, you know, just bad shape, and we also got that resurfaced nicely, and I know that the people are very happy about that also, because again, a number of them came out and mentioned it. And in addition to those two roads, we also did Ramsgate Road from Calkins Road south, just a little bit north of this area here, the township area here, and that road has some major drainage problems. I don't know why. I think they go back to the time that it was built, but water was ponding everywhere. So we had to actually do some drainage work in there, because we don't want to pave a road with drainage problems, because then we're going to basically have problems with the paving that we do if the road doesn't drain properly. So we identified those problems, and we actually fixed them all, and also milled and resurfaced that road too. And again, it looks real nice. It services the subdivision over there, I think it's Stonehenge, and it also services the apartment community of, I think, Stonehenge Gates, I believe it is, that they haven't renamed it. So that project came out well also. And then we also did Shady Hill Court from Diametal Lane northeast to the cul-de-sac ending. And that road had been kind of torn apart by the garbage trucks and the fact that it was 60 years old and nothing had ever been done. So again, that came out very well also. And as far as the budget, we actually ended up about $20,000 under the budget. When we go into these projects, we set a budget, and we hope we don't have to go above it. But if you have to deal with unforeseen conditions or, you know, additional quantities, sometimes you'll go slightly over. But everything worked out extremely well in those roads. So we actually came $20,000 under budget in those, which I was very pleased about. And another project the town did was a Bronx subdivision. I think it's over in the southwest corner of Hemphill Road and Fenton Road. Those are gravel roads in there, and I forget the footage, but I think there's nearly a mile of gravel roads. And they also, nothing had really substantially been done for years and years. And those were all had limestone placed on them, 2 inches of limestone throughout the entire subdivision. And that project, we're also going to come back this spring and put some permazine treatment on it. What that is something newer that's going to help that limestone last longer, and also hopefully cut down on the amount of potholes and things of that nature that you get. But it worked out well. The water wasn't even getting off the road because the berms from the ditches were high, so it was just, you know, ponding along the edge of the road. But by filling that 2 inches up, it matched straight in, and now the water's getting off the road. And I think the road commission is also going to do some ditching for us this year also in the Bronx to take care of that. I believe they did some last year, and they got to finish it up this year. Last road project we did was just Maple Avenue from Torrey Road west to the airport gate. That was a joint project with Mundy Township. The township paid 50%. That was a small project. It only cost the township about $5,200 for that. But that was also done last year. And the last thing that was done is that every year the Township also works with the road commission to reconstruct catch basins that are failing and deteriorating in bad shape. Everybody might have seen one if you live in a subdivision. Basically, the mortar and the blocks underneath the heavy steel frame and cover, it begins to fail, and then dirt and water leak in through that area then, and then the cover settles, and then the pavement goes with it. So those are kind of a problem we always have to deal with, and the township's actually been participating with the road commission for a number of years. And last year, I think they did 8 catch basins. And that was a total cost of $66,000, and the road commission splits that cost to the township. So the cost of the township was approximately $33,000. And I think what's scheduled for this year, I think approximately 7 catch basins are scheduled for this year. But all in all, the road projects that the township does every year, they're really a great thing. The people that live in these streets, they can't afford assessments, a lot of these streets, and that's the only way they're gonna get their road fixed. So since there haven't been any assessment projects for a number of years, prior to Flagstone, the last assessment project, I think, was Dyewood back in 2009. So instead of working on assessment projects, we've been trying to move around the township, and the advisory committee's done a great job of doing that. We don't do them just in one area. We've moved from the southeast, the southwest, the north, the northeast, the center part. So we try to move around and catch everything, and we've done a lot of good. I think that we've done approximately 35 roads in just the last 6 years that otherwise wouldn't be done. So, it's worked out very well, I do believe, and I commend the township for doing that, because it's a service that otherwise I don't think that people could have anything done other than the road commission continuing to fill up the potholes. And the road commission, of course, they don't put any money towards subdivision roads. They do let us use the 50-50 money now. That's only new as the last couple years. But I think it's all worked out very well, and so this year we're going to do those 3 roads that I mentioned again, and I'm confident they'll turn out well again, and also, just for your information, I do believe that the millage fund is going to expire here in '25. I'm pretty sure. It basically was a old sanitary sewer millage that was converted to road funds, I think approximately around the year 2005 or so, and it's been, I think, renewed a couple times, but it's really, really a good program. I believe that the people, they know what's being done. I think they'd be all for it. From what I hear, that would be my opinion. It does a lot of good. So with that, anybody got any questions? I'd be certainly happy to answer them. Otherwise, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Pfeiffer?
Not right now.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
And I want to say thank you to those who serve on the road advisory. We have a couple of members who were original to the advisory. I see Dave Huffman's here. I see John Whiteside's here, and Wayne Neerman just retired. He was on that road advisory. John has been on that advisory for 18 years, and it's volunteer. Only in the last couple of years you've been doing all the minutes, and then you upload them to our software and provide them. So we give you a small per diem per meeting for that, but it's not enough to pay your gas back and forth. But anyway, thank you for the work that you do. We appreciate that. I know that there's a lot to it. We use the PACER ratings provided to us by the road commission. We work with the road commission, we work with the engineer, and I know you go out and look at roads, and we look at complaints, and we try to put a project recommendation together for the board to vote on. The road advisory is just that, an advisory board. They don't make decisions, but they do make recommendations, and like John said, that will be coming to the board this evening. So thank you for the reports. We'll move on to number 8, Mr. Treasurer.
All of you should have received copies of the invoices within your packet. I want to acknowledge the disbursements in the amount of $1,714,163.78 as authorized by the board's purchasing policy. In addition, we have tax distributions in the amount of $2,628.85 for a total of $1,716,792.63. And invoices, in those invoices and disbursements, this includes $1,177,674 And 33 cents in payments to the Genesee County Drain Commission.
Are you making a motion to pay the bills?
That's my motion.
Is there a second to the motion to pay the bills?
I'll second it.
Any questions for Mr. Treasurer?
Yes, I'm gonna say no, because there's a couple stipends in there for the election, that I don't quite understand, so I'm gonna have to vote no on that right now.
Alrighty, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, go ahead.
Madam Burt, we can look at those if you'd like and figure out what the problem was.
It should be discussed with the election commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm like,
It's okay.
it was.
If there's no, I'm sorry, if there's no further discussion, we have a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,714,163.78. Mrs. Tucker, would you please take the roll call?
Trustee Faftall?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Klee?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett? Same here.
Yes.
And,
One more.
for some reason, Jean's not in my system. And Trustee Burt?
No.
Alrighty, the majority rules and it passes, and we move on to action item A. Chief Salter,
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
you do realize when the day comes, I'm gonna have a hard time, whoever we name the next chief, I'm gonna be calling him Salter the whole time, you know?
Which will be okay because I've been called Chief Skipper many times in the last 6 years. So
Alrighty
I
then,
think the new chief can put up with it.
okay,
Right?
okay.
Pursuant to the board's action last meeting requesting the names, plural, from the Civil Service Commission, the next eligible candidate for promotion from sergeant to lieutenant and officer to sergeant, I'm officially requesting that the township board take action to promote Sergeant Michael Nemechek to lieutenant and Officer Shayna McCallum to sergeant.
Thank you, we're gonna take this one at a time. Would someone like to make a motion?
I would move as item A to promote Sergeant Michael Nemechek to police lieutenant per the name presented and that by the Civil Service Commission.
Is there a second to the motion? Any questions or discussion? Mike's gonna do a fine job.
Yes, he will.
Good choice. So, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of, the name Michael Nemechek being promoted to the position of lieutenant signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. And then we're gonna move on to, the action item, A to B for police sergeant.
I'd like to make a motion to promote Patrol Officer Shayna McCallum to the rank of sergeant, name given by the Civil Service Commission.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any further discussion or questions?
Are these promotions effected immediately?
Yes, ma'am, there'll be a ceremony tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
She's gonna do an excellent job. She's feisty. Alrighty, we have a motion and a second, and if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the motion to promote Shayna McCullum to position of sergeant signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. It's action item A, number 2, is rental inspector. Chief Beckley?
Yes, thank you. So our township has been in need of full-time rental inspectors since the beginning of this program many years back. We currently are completing inspections with one part-time inspector within our township. With over 45% of the residential units in Flint Township being rentals, this is just not enough to keep up. With more inspections, we can ensure safer conditions of living in cleaner homes, residences, yards, for over 45% of the people that live in this community. This will help to ensure that safety measures are taken, homes are maintained, and people are living in conditions that are as safe as possible. These inspectors will also be sworn code enforcement officers, which we desperately know we need more of within this community. So this will hopefully allow them to clear up any code issues at properties or other properties in the neighborhood while they are there doing these inspections. I'd like to recommend that the Township Board amend the 2024 budget to hire 2 full-time rentals/code enforcement officers. These positions will be paid for out of the fees that are collected for these inspections, which since I believe June of 2022 is over $200,000 that has been brought in, with much more out there that needs to be collected. So upon approval of this amendment, we'll post for these positions, interview, and once the interviews are completed, the Personnel Committee would hire these positions. So that is my recommendation to the board.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move forward?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the budget to allow the hiring of 2 full-time rental inspectors as presented by Chief Beckley.
Is there a second to the motion? Any questions or discussion? No? Alrighty, this will go to the Personnel Committee to interview once the positions are posted for?
Yes, yep, and I did include a sample job description as well, along with the information, so what we're gonna be looking for candidates.
Any further discussion?
No, just a comment, other than, when we had rental inspectors a couple years ago, I think it was only 40 or 43% were rentals here, and it's gone up to 45, 47%. So hopefully this will take care of a lot of the blight, because with blight comes crime.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Tucker, please take the roll call for the hiring of 2 full-time rental inspectors to be posted.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Klee?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Trustee Pfaffdal?
Yes.
Thank you. Action item A3, yes, is stipends. So, as Chief Beckley introduced the rental inspections, Chief Beckley is doing additional duties that we want to pay him for in addition to the work he already does. You'll be helping to administrate in the building department. You'll be overseeing these rental inspectors and helping guide code enforcers also. And you do site plan review for the fire department. And so you have the information in front of you it's budgeted $15,000 for the year for site plan review and for additional duties. A motion would be in order to approve that stipend for Chief Beckley.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the stipend for Chief Beckley.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
I have a question. Can we put this on a trial basis for 6 months? Hey, I'm just asking, you know.
Do we want to, so let me go back to, you made the motion? Do you want to do that? So where are we at? March, we're 3 months in. So you're asking for 6 months, Barb. We've got 9 months left. So do we want to,
The fall, right? Into the
well,
September. Yeah.
do you want to do 6 months? Do you want to wait till the end of the year and reevaluate?
Okay.
Is that okay? Thank you.
They can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 9 months.
End of the year.
Thank you.
End of the year.
So the next would be for Kevin McIntyre, who is our controller, who has taken on the directorship of the water department. It was budgeted in that budget, the water department budget, for a $15,000 stipend. I'm asking that the board would approve an increase, another $15,000 for overseeing that entire department.
Are you doing these both together?
No, do we?
We didn't vote on
finish
them.
Sorry.
That's why I was asking, sorry.
We need to do them separate, so would you take the roll call on the first one, please?
Okay, hold on. So the first one, it was, Greg, you made the motion, right?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure I've got the right one.
Yeah, to the end of the year.
And then Carol, were you the seconder?
Yes.
Okay, and so the motion is to approve the building department administration oversight and site plan review from the fire department, a stipend to be paid for additional duties and responsibilities within the building department for Fire Chief Brett Beckley. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Klee,
Yes.
Trustee Leverett Senior,
Yes.
Trustee Vert,
Yes.
Trustee Fafdahl,
Yes.
Trustee King.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now the second one, a motion would be in order to give the additional funds, 15,000 to Kevin McIntyre for the water department, overseeing that.
I'll make the motion to approve the stipend for Kevin McIntyre for the additional duties in the sewer and water department.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Tucker, please take the roll call.
Okay, and I have the motion by Trustee Vert and the second by Mr. Leverett Senior. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer Klee,
Yes.
Trustee Leverett Senior,
Yes.
Trustee Vert,
Yes.
Trustee Fafdahl,
Yes.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes. Action item B is the 2024 road projects. You have the cost estimate in front of you. We've heard the presentation. John Whiteside gave, it was a recommendation, it was a unanimous recommendation from the Road Advisory Committee for the proposed roads, starting with Scottwood Avenue, that we would do that one first, and then whatever funds are left over to put them toward Trotwood Lane and Pickwick Place. That's the unanimous recommendation from the Road Advisory Committee. Got it right? Right?
You don't have anything. No.
Well, the total amount, and I don't know why that, I'm sorry, I didn't get that to you, did I?
Do you have it there? I can go make copies real quick.
I have a couple extra with me.
Do you?
I'll go make copies real quick so
Thanks.
everybody sees what you're looking at.
So while you're doing that, we'll go on to action item C, is the fee schedule. Chief Beckley, it's a change to the fee schedule.
Yes. So usually every year we kind of revisit our fees within the fire department. Obviously, last year with the first year of our fire marshal division, we've noticed some things that we would like to change and update with our fee schedule. I believe everyone has a list up there with the highlighted changes. Trying to just simplify our accounting practices, make things a little bit easier for us to bill, and collecting a little bit easier on these businesses that we are out seeing. Just make it a little simpler on us and them. So the highlighted changes there, basically one of the major things that we've done is instead of charging per inspection, we've included a re-inspection with that fee. Just to make that easier. That seems to be the biggest confusion we get from businesses when we are out there is they get multiple invoices if we come back multiple times. So we're just trying to simplify that. And then the only new fee that is included in there is a lift assist fee. As the board knows, we started doing those a couple years back due to the shortage of EMS units within the county. So we've noticed that number going up. That will allow us the opportunity to invoice or bill for those if they become a recurring issue, or if we decide that we need to as a whole. So those are the only major changes on there. The rest of the fees that you see are pretty much set by our cost recovery company. A lot of the motor vehicle incidents, hazmat incidents, those type of things are the recommendations of the recovery company that we use. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
One of the questions I asked you earlier was the frequency of the inspections. You said for non-hazardous, for hazardous materials and companies who use that, it'd be a yearly inspection?
Yes. So what we're trying to work towards is our high-risk occupancies, like our restaurants, our hazardous materials sites, gas stations, those type of things that pose the greatest risk to the community. We'd like to inspect those more often on an annual basis. Some of our lower risk, doctors' offices, dentist offices, those kind of things. There's a lot less risk of a fire happening. It's not impossible, but a lot less risk there. So they would be on a little bit less frequent schedule going forward is what we're.
So this here, change, is that's gonna be for, 2 years or 3 years? Have you put that in?
We haven't put that officially on paper yet. We're still kind of working through numbers and all of those kind of things to figure out what is actually doable every year and what isn't. So with this still being a pilot program here, we're still kind of working out some of those details and what works, what doesn't exactly. So we don't have those set.
2 years, right?
Most,
This is
yeah.
paid for 2 years?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
and it possibly 3 years, okay. Any questions for Chief Beckley?
Yes. I'd like to have one.
Sure.
How is the public going to be notified to all of this? Is it going to be online or what?
Yep, so our fee schedule is online, I believe. Tracy, you posted it in a few different spots, so it is available on the township's website. All of this is accessible there. Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's some inspections that are involved with the business license, so
Right.
we interact with the businesses. Any further questions?
We got the same question.
Lift assists.
Yes.
Seems to be a lot of people don't understand it and why we're doing it
Yes.
and how many there are and how many people it takes to do them. So if you could explain, and how do you charge? I mean, it has down here $475, so.
So I'll kind of, basically the lift assist that we respond to are non-medical, what we call non-medical lift assists. If you call 911 and you've simply fallen down and can't get up, you need a hand getting up. The EMS providers in the county used to take care of that. Obviously, with the EMS shortages that we've discussed several times here, and the lack of EMS units in this county, Genesee County 911 asked a couple years back for fire departments to assist with these things. We did take that on as a service to our community. Last year, I believe we ran about 200 of them total. That is a large number, obviously. But with that being said, with the lack of EMS units in this county, there's really nobody else to respond to these types of calls. So if we are available to respond, I think it's necessary that we do to help our citizens, help our taxpayers, so they're not sitting in a garage on the ground outside in the wintertime, wherever they may be. That's really what we're there for, and we only respond to the ones that there's not injuries. If there's any reports of injuries, or we get there and there's injuries, that we do call for an ambulance. We turn that over to EMS. If the initial call is that there's somebody hurt, we don't even respond to it. They send an ambulance to it. That fee comes from basically our cost to have a fire truck respond to anything. That cost is the cost set forth by our cost recovery company for one fire engine to roll out the door. That's the depreciation, the fuel, the personnel, all of those things that they factor into that cost, and that's what they say it is for a fire engine to respond to a call. Some of those, one or two people may be able to help up. Some of those require several more people, depending on obviously the size of the person, where they may be at in their home, or the position that they may be in. So that's kind of where that comes from. That is our set fee, whether we respond to a open burn call, somebody burning in their yard, or a house on fire. That is basically the set fee for a fire engine to respond.
So who do you charge it to? I mean, do you charge it to insurance? Do you charge it
So-
to the person?
Currently, right now, we don't charge anybody. That is a fee that we have not charged yet. It has not been in our fee schedule. We have not billed anybody for that service. My intent would not be to bill every one of these that we go on if it's a one-time somebody needs a hand. We do have some people that have taken advantage of that over the years, or the last year really, and we've become kind of their personal moving service. Until we've kind of had to have that conversation of, hey, we can't come out and help you from here to there, 5 times a day or 5 times in a week. My intent would be that fee would be for those kind of people that abuse that system or abuse that resource that we have there. I think it's important that we help our community the best that we can, and that we support the people that are here. And there's literally nobody else right now to respond to these calls, so that's why we have kind of accepted that. I'm hoping at some point in the future, our EMS system returns to where it was, and we can stop that service, and that it will pick back up to them is my goal. But at this time, we're just not there. So
That's similar to a false alarm. When you get a false alarm, they get a free pass, right?
Yep.
And the more false alarms that you respond to at the same residence within, the same business, or is it a residence?
It could be either way. It could be either way.
Within the calendar year, they're gonna get a charge if they keep having a false alarm, right?
Right. Typically, we don't run into that with most residences. We have a couple of businesses in particular that we respond to a lot, but that's just because of their practices and their business that they don't enforce a lot of the things that they are supposed to in that business, which then causes their alarms to go off, and we respond. So they do. There are a couple of businesses in this community that get hit pretty hard with that charge, but again, it's due to their practices, not due to us or anything else at that location.
Thank you.
I just think the county needs to take care of the EMS. They need to bring it back, that should be on them instead of all this private stuff. Also, are you gonna still take care of critters in houses?
The fire department is a catch-all for a lot of different things. I'll be honest with you. We do try to provide the best services that we can to our community, no matter what that service is. Of course, there are some things we have to draw the line and we can't help with. If we can help, whether it's something small, something major, whatever it is. We've been called out to cut apart a deck before to help get an animal that was stuck underneath of it. We are going to try to provide those services. That's what we try to do. That's what most fire departments in this state, country, that's what we're there for, is to try to help out our community. If we can, we're going to try. If we can't, or we don't have the resources, or it's going to put somebody in danger, absolutely not. And there are some critters that we may be able to help you out with, and there's some that we're probably not going to. So, we are here to provide that service for our community the best that we can, to do whatever we can do. And if we can't, we're going to refer you in the right direction to help. We had somebody call a couple weeks ago to try to help get a raccoon out of where was it at? I don't remember. They had a raccoon somewhere in their house, and we told them, we can't do that. We're not coming out for that. I'm sorry, but we did try to refer them to the right people at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Thank you. I spoke with a county commissioner recently, and they are engaged in a study looking at the shortage of EMS and that situation with the entire county. So that should be, the results of that study should be coming out soon. So we have information for the fee schedule. Would someone like to make a motion to approve it, the updated information?
We would move to accept the recommendation from the chief for the updated fee schedule with the adjustments that he's presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any further questions for Chief Beckley? Hearing none, Mrs. Tucker, will you call the roll, please?
We had put the effective date of 4/1 in there. Was that okay, that date? Or do you want it moved up? We just needed time to get it online. You didn't say an effective
Fine
date.
with
No,
4/1.
4/1 was what we,
That's
yeah,
fine.
4/1 is what he proposed, yeah.
Okay.
We need time to work it.
Trustee Leverett Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Trustee Fafdahl?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Klee?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for working on that, Chief Beckley. So back to action item B is the 2024 road projects. Now you have in front of you the information that the Road Advisory Committee's made a unanimous recommendation that we do these 3 roads, beginning with Scottwood Avenue and then Pickwick Place from Trotwood Lane south 275 feet, and Trotwood Lane from Pickwick Place east to west to Pickwick Place north and south, in the amount of $476,000. The motion is in order to move forward.
We moves to accept the road projects for the 2024 budget and budgeted as they are for this year.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion? Or is that Vert? Thank you. Any questions or discussion on the road projects?
As always, Mike, and I see John still back there for all the work they've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's no further discussion, Mrs. Tucker, will you take the roll call on the road projects proposed?
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Trustee Fafdahl?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Klee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Leverett Senior?
Yes.
Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you. Number 11 is the announcement. Our next meeting is going to be Monday, April 1st at 6 PM here. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Because of you, I felt hopeless. I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me. Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.